wanna do that one more time?
Yeah. Okay. I like how we both said it like really slowly to make sure the other person was like catching up. Okay.
You ready?
Hey, cutie. Hey, cute. What?
Okay.
Hey.
Hi or hey?
Hi, cutie. Hey. Hi. Let's say hi.
Hi.
Hi sounds
okay.
cute.
Okay.
Hey. 3, 2, 1. Hi. Hi, cuties. Oh yeah, let's keep that in unedited.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, hi cuties. This is your co-host Blindfoldhero
and Koolkayak for episode 2 of the GirlyPop podcast called GirlyPop TV podcast.
Yes, TV because you watch on your TV or your phone or your laptop or computer. Wherever you watch it, this is the GirlyPop TV podcast. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, cuties. Today we have a fun episode planned. We're gonna talk about being woman. Ta-da!
I took notes.
Oh my gosh! Wait, that's a lot of notes. No way! I should have taken notes myself.
I told you, like, if you need to cut me off, that's totally fine.
Whoa, okay, look at you go, queen. So do you want to get started? Do you have like a particular topic you want to talk about? I know we want to talk about our experience as a female in like the streaming industry. Do you also want to talk a bit about like our personal lives, like our like jobs as well?
Sure. Yeah. We can expand on that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can start with streaming.
Okay, cool. So what has your experience been as a female in the streaming industry? I know streaming is a very male-dominated platform. If you look on Twitch statistics, not even Twitch, like other stream like YouTube, Kick as well, like the top 10, even 20, I don't know the exact numbers, but the top percentile of streamers are all male. And even in the lower percentiles, a huge majority are male content creators. So as women in the streaming industry, in the content creator industry, like what has kind of been your experience with that?
I think it's like the undermining aspect that I've experienced. So a lot of the time, majority of, I mean, honestly, male streamers and male viewers typically have said things to me like, well, you get views because you're a girl, or you get views because you're pretty, kind of thing, which feels very like undermining the work that actually goes with creating your stream, creating your brand, putting your ideas out there, putting yourself out there. And I think that was like one of the main things, like as I was growing through streaming, like I feel like I encountered that same saying plenty of times throughout my throughout my experience, and it always felt icky, and I never understood why it felt icky until later, and I was like, oh wait, that is not very nice to say, actually.
Right. Would you say those comments came from like viewers or peers that you know in real life?
Viewers, more peers that I didn't know in real life, but I knew through the streaming platform who were also streamers.
I see. Interesting. So you've had other streamers say that to you, like male streamers? Wow.
Yes.
I personally don't think I've had that said to me, but I know a lot of female content creators, a lot of people undermine the actual work that they do and all the effort, all the time, all the energy they do, that they put into their work. Not even just streaming related, like even other career fields that are more male dominated. A lot, like that is something women get a lot in general, you know, is that they are only successful because they are a woman, which is simply just not true.
Yeah, exactly. How about you? What is something that you've encountered, like
I
being a female streamer?
Haven't encountered a lot of that since I've been streaming on Twitch. I think mainly because I've been a smaller streamer. I haven't really encountered that, you know, luckily. I think so I'm grateful for that I have such a tight-knit and, you know, good community. But it's interesting because I've actually encountered more derogatory comments about female characters within games that I've been playing, rather than the comments that have been directed towards me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would definitely get a lot of those derogatory comments about being a female streamer if I became a bigger content creator. But because I'm so small right now, like I average like 15 viewers, I haven't gotten a lot of that. But I think I remember this specific instance about a character in the game that I was playing. So Earthbound, I know that's actually the game where we met each other. It was like this random viewer. It's always a random viewers that come in and says the weirdest stuff. So I was playing Earthbound, and if you guys don't know, Earthbound is a game by Nintendo. It's pretty old, but it's like a 2D game, but it's really fun. It's where like Ness and Lucas are from. It's like the Mother series, and there are 4 main characters, playable characters. So it's Ness, Paula, and I don't remember the other 2 people's names, but I know it was like a monkey and then like a guy or something, like a science kid. I don't remember their names. I remember this random viewer came into chat, and then he was like, how much dick do you think Paula gets? Because she's the only female character like that you can play as in the game. And I was like, what? I was like, and then like, obviously I banned him. I'm like, but why would you say that? Like, that is like, this is like a kid's game, right? Kind of. Yeah, it's a kid's game. And why would you even think about that? Like, why would that thought even occur to you about something like something so despicable about a kid's game? Like, keep in mind, this is not like, you know, a very like adult adult based game. This is like a children's game, you know, a Nintendo game. So why would you even, I don't know, like have that thought? But that's like one experience I have. So I would say I have more experience geared towards being like derogatory comments towards like female characters rather than towards myself, which is also not okay even if they are fictional.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's very telling of like where their headspace is at versus you know, like, you didn't do anything wrong. You're playing a game, and a kid game for that matter.
Yeah,
and it's
for
just,
sure.
Like, icky, very icky.
I would say I have gotten like comments about being Asian American. Like I would have random people come into chat and be like talking to me about like being Asian American, like in a derogatory manner. But I don't know if we want to save that for the Asian American episode, because I know we do have an Asian American episode coming up too, so maybe I'll save that for that.
Okay, I mean, it's up to you. You can talk about it a little bit, but we'll definitely have more of a beefier episode on for sure. Being Asian American
for sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was kind of my experience with that. What about you? Have you ever had people say like weird things about female characters in like the games that you might have been playing? And if you had any like derogatory comments about you, like, would you like to share like some of them that you can remember? Or you don't have to if you don't want to, obviously.
Let me check my notes.
Oh yeah,
because I know. Okay. As a streamer, I can't think of like derogatory thing. I know I have heard things along those lines. But maybe I just block them out in the abyss of my mind.
I feel that like sometimes when traumatic things happening, I'm like, okay, into a closed chest in the deepest, you know, corners of my mind you go. So I get that.
Yeah. But I think like the main thing with my experience being a streamer, and I think this will just be more of a generalization than a specific example that I have, but that I think this just goes as being a content creator, just being on a public platform in general, but definitely on Twitch streams, is I am viewed as a woman first before I am viewed as a human. And sometimes it doesn't even reach that point for people. They don't see the human aspect of me. They only see the woman. And that can come with a bunch of layers, because maybe the term woman to us is different than to other people who view it differently, such as like layers of misogyny that haven't been uncovered in them. But even just like what comes with a parasocial relationship, and honestly like sexual objectification. So being kind of viewed as more of an object to please, even from a parasocial standpoint, versus an actual human behind the screen.
Right. It's interesting you brought up the parasocial note, because I feel like a lot of viewers watch Twitch streamers thinking that if they, you know, get close enough to them, they could like date or like hook up with them. And I'm like, you shouldn't, you know, watch Twitch streamers thinking you have a chance with them. You know, like not even like big streamers, but like small streamers too, you know? So that's kind of another layer of the parasocial experience that a lot of streamers, especially like female streamers, face.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there have been plenty of times, I mean, you know, where I've just like ran into that pretty, not often, but I did have a lot of that. I have encountered that where it was just like, wait, hold on. That was not
I feel
where
like
I thought
you
this
get
was
it
going.
so much. I feel like every other day you're like, oh, this person admitted their feelings to me. And I'm like, wow. I mean, honestly, me too. Like, I would admit my feelings to you. But that aside, you know, like, why, obviously, you know, I say as a joke, but people will like do it for real. Like they don't even know you, bro. Like, think about it more after, you know, you meet up in real life. But I just can't understand like how, you know, you can like fall in love and think that this person's gonna get with you over a screen. Like they don't even know you.
Yeah, and like it's an awkward scenario to be in that, because it's like, you know, I don't want to hurt your feelings, bud, but like that's just not, I'm not at that place. And then even so, like, then it kind of takes me back to like instances where I have like talked to them and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. It's not it's clicking a lot more. And that's probably like one of the biggest reasons as to why I decided to stop streaming for a bit too, was because I kind of needed to reevaluate my own boundaries when it comes to streaming and getting to know people through content creation and stuff like that. And like, for the sake of my own peace and my heart and my mental health, emotional health, I think that was like also something that was needed. I needed to regroup and really like, what is happening here? Why is this, like you said, it kept happening, this same thing where people like viewed me they had a crush on me or whatever, they admitted it to me, and then it was just kind of like, okay, what something needs to change. I need to change something here. But I think that was kind of one of like the most honestly kind
just
of traumatic.
Tell them you're dating someone named Blindfoldhero and they'll shut up.
I'll try that next time.
Okay. New strategy. I know, but it's just so interesting to me. Like, Twitch is not a dating website. Like,
it is used as that, which is crazy. Yeah.
Like, if you want to date someone, download Tinder, download Hinge. There's so many options out there. Go to a club. Like, don't go to Twitch. Twitch is not it. I'm sorry.
I think it's a matter of intention too. Like, if you go into it and, you know, you get to know somebody, like, don't assume that you should, one, tell them when you don't even know them in person. I think that's number one. Like, just don't open that door. And if like you do happen to meet them in person and then that feeling seems reciprocated, then you can maybe open the door. But that's a different story than just like parasocially. I don't know. I think I'm just kind of like, nah.
I think it's different once you've actually become friends with them. Like, once you've developed a relationship outside of Twitch, you know.
I agree.
Like, if you are able to develop a relationship that is not just like you interacting with this person solely through chat, you know,
Yes,
That's different. That is different. If you like meet up with them regularly, like in real life, if you talk to them about other things that are not stream related, I feel like that's different because you've developed this new relationship. Even if you like met on Twitch, maybe that's fine. But if you develop a relationship outside of that, but people who like their only relationship like related to you is only through Twitch, like through talking to you on your chat, that's getting a little parasocial here.
No, that's exactly. Like, I think when it starts, when that, yeah, I've encountered a scenario where it was just purely on chat. It was the only time that I would speak with them.
Yeah.
And like, maybe they would be in my DMs too, but I kind of don't really engage in my DMs either, unless it's like, responding to my stories, all that stuff, whatever. But like, sometimes, I don't know, people send me memes and then that kind of gets like, and they've also have a crush on me, and I don't want to like I don't want to open that door and like get people's hopes up.
So going back to like women and streaming, like, do you think this also happens to a lot of male streamers? Or I feel like this is something that happens a lot to female streamers more than male streamers. But I don't know, because I haven't really talked to any like male streamers about this specifically. So
I don't see. I think I've asked this to a male streamer before, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they said they've encountered some interesting messages. But that's just only one instance. My gut says no. And probably not until they're at a more bigger scale. Sorry, my necklace is like hanging weird. But not until they were in a much bigger scale of content creation I would think that they would get a lot of that was weird. Okay, anyways. My camera glitched. I was just wondering what was happening. So that's kind of what my gut says. What about you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like assume and be like, oh, like male streamers have it so easy, because obviously they have their own issues, they have their own problems. I know, especially like bigger streamers too. I know like they definitely get hit on and stuff as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, but also like, again, an assumption, but I feel like in me, like I feel like especially smaller streamers, female streamers probably get it more than male streamers, is what my gut is telling me.
I think
especially
so too.
Because the viewer base of Twitch is also predominantly male. Like, there are more males on Twitch as a viewer watching streamers, and a lot of them just watch like female streamers solely.
Yes.
I don't know what that says, but
yeah, I noticed that too. I don't know. But what about your experience in like the workplace in general? Have you encountered?
I haven't encountered anything that super like discriminatory or any derogatory comments towards me. Personally, I do work in a more male dominated field as well. Usually in all my previous jobs, I've been like one of 2 or 3 or 4 women in our like entire department of like 15-20 people. But I haven't experienced anything super derogatory towards me. So I would say I'm very thankful and fortunate that my work experience has been pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you have that experience.
What about you though, in the workplace?
I have definitely. I did experience it even when I worked in like fast food. That was also actually probably one of the most, I say iconic, but it's not positive. The connotation is not positive here for iconic, but at least one of the top memories I have is actually my experience working in a fast food restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where like my manager at the time, who's a man. I'm like 19, 18, very young. This man was probably a few years older than me, so early 20s at the time. And I was working as a cashier, and it was later in the evening, and these boys were kind of just like, they're just hitting on me grossly, and I felt very uncomfortable.
Like customers?
And yeah, customers.
Yeah.
They just seem like high school boys being stupid. And I went to the side and told them, "Can you handle these guys? Because I feel uncomfortable right now."
Yeah.
They're like saying like I said what the comments were. I don't even remember now, but they were just saying gross comments. And he was like, "Well, girls like that anyways, so you're okay. You can do it." And I was like,
gosh, that is terrible.
"What can I get for you?" Like, it was just like, I just took it. I was like, all right, I guess so, whatever.
Wow, I know people face this so much in the fast food industry. Like, any job that requires you to work with customers probably deals with that. Like, I've been pretty fortunate. Like, I've never worked in the fast food industry. I've never had like a restaurant job before. Like, all my jobs have been very corporate, where I just work at my desk. So I don't really get it. Like, I don't really interact with people at like any of my previous jobs. It's just me at a desk. Was that like the only instance, or were there like more as well?
There were a lot, but I think it wasn't really based on the fact that I was a woman. It was just based off the fact that they were rude people.
Oh, yeah.
But also, like, that manager specifically, though, he was known for being pretty sexist and like just like always hitting on his subordinates. Like, it was just very toxic.
That's
very
terrible.
toxic. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I cannot imagine like working in an environment like that. Like, I would quit like day one.
Yeah, me today. Me too. Me today. But me then thought like, well, I guess this is the real world.
Was that your first job?
Yeah.
Oh, because you said you were like 19, right? So it was like right out of high school, probably.
Yeah, I got my first like official job out of high school, but I would like babysit for like my neighbors or stuff like that. Like, that would be my side money when I was in high school. But yeah, I did. That was my first job, so that's why I was like, I didn't know. I just really didn't know what level of respect, disrespect was allowed in a workplace, or was you know, I didn't really look within myself at that time.
And like, you're like so freshly into the industry, and like you have no experience to back up. So maybe you thought that, you know, this is normal, which is like terrible.
Yeah.
Thinking about how many people who are like new to employment, like get their first jobs, and they're so innocent and naive, but they don't realize that their work environment is not normal. Like, that's terrible.
Yes, dude. Like, even with my last job, and that was the one where I was more like in the media entertainment sphere, and I would meet people who were this was their first job ever, and what they would allow and tolerate, and I reflected with myself and saw it in them, and would be like, oh, hell no. So sometimes I try to be an advocate for younger people when they have their first job, and try to like pull them aside and be like, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. And like, I give them scenarios as an example as to when I have done the same. Because like, I don't know, I feel like when you have someone on your corner, then you have a little more like, okay, I can do it, you know? But it also gets them to notice like, oh wait, yeah, that was kind of messed up, huh? Because maybe they didn't know.
Yeah,
and they just felt uncomfortable, but didn't know if that was okay, essentially, which is sad to say.
Yeah, for sure. I think going back to like being a woman in like the entertainment industry, I feel like you've, you know, experienced a lot of that, both in content creation and in, you know, what you do for work. So how would you say that kind of like differs? Like, do you experience, you know, that misogyny like more in like streaming, like your personal like content creation, or do you see it more in like a professional workplace? I'm just curious on how that differs.
I think now I don't feel it as often in my content creation anymore.
Interesting.
Which is really nice. And I am seeing it way more in my professional experiences now. And I think it has to do with, you know what? I don't know what it has to do with, other than the fact that these people would just, I think it goes, let me collect my thoughts here.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is, the people who I've worked with in the past have undermined me or made me appear as if I don't know anything through the way they word things or through the way they cut me off or interrupt me, or like, you know, it's like all in like the rhetoric of how they say things about, maybe I pitched an idea and then they like turn it down, but in a way that feels very like, you don't know what you're talking about. How about this kind of thing? So I think that's mostly the vibes I've been getting lately.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, like sit down, girl, sit down, kind of vibe.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of been my experience. No, it's not.
Yeah.
And I mean, now that I'm older and I can see it more clear than I have before, and like I have been in the position where I've called it out, like in my previous working relationship I had with someone, and I noticed that I wasn't being respected in the way that I deserved to be, honestly. And like this was like more of a freelance, you know, side thing than it really was like my professional full-time job. So it was easy for me to like kind of come to grips and be like, no, I don't need to choose this. I don't need to do this. And kind of just choose a different route. But yeah, so.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. I think one of the like clearly like sexist comment I've gotten at my like previous work was, we were creating a new, like, I don't want to give too much away, but we were creating something new, essentially. So we're creating a new team and designating people through what they specialize in. My main thing has always been acting. This specifically, though, the manager, who's a woman, said, okay, Kayla, you're going to do costumes because women are just naturally good at that. So I'm going to put you there.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like,
oh my God.
So it has nothing to do with the fact that my skill sets are towards that direction, but it has more to the fact that because I'm a woman, you think I'm better at that.
Isn't there like a law against that? Or maybe there was, I don't know, but
I don't know now, but then,
I don't know now, but I feel like there was like, and I know there's like employment like discrimination. I don't know if that counts for that, but I feel like, isn't that like illegal to assume that you're better at something because of your gender? I feel like there's a law around that. I feel like that's kind of
yeah. I mean, at the time I didn't know how to really advocate for myself in that manner, and it was kind of like said so casually in front of everybody, and no one blinked twice about that comment, which worse. Also, because I was like,
if like no one talks about that, that just means they're so used to it. You're so used to that happening every day. And the fact that she said it so casually, it just means that they're, you know, it's been ingrained in their minds that that's what things are supposed to be. That's how things work. Like, it's so scary. Like, when people are being sexist or like racist or discriminatory, like without even like thinking about it, like the fact it's just been so deeply ingrained into like into their minds, like that's honestly kind of terrifying.
Exactly. No, exactly. And I think that's why I mentioned like the whole undermining or like not really acknowledging what my actual skill sets are and not seeing me as a human who knows how to do things, but rather than a woman first and what a woman what they think a woman is good at, like basically assigning gender roles as a reason why I can do a job versus the actual person I am, the human that can do things with their hands, body, and personality and skills. So that's like that.
Wow, I'm sorry that happened to you. That's very bad. I'm glad you're not working for that particular place anymore.
Same, me too.
That is very interesting because I personally am the opposite of you, where I encounter more of that kind of stuff on my content creation rather than in my actual, you know, real life employment.
To be honest, I don't know why. I have encountered it in every single job, no matter the industry. Like even, so like I said, fast food. There was one time I was part of like a financial corporate kind of environment. I encountered it there. And then like with entertainment and just even people I come across in a networking event.
Yeah, for real. Do you want to elaborate more about that or?
Sure, I can talk about it.
Okay.
Okay.
So this happened to you yesterday? Today?
Today.
In the past 24 hours. Okay.
Yes. And I basically went to a networking event of, within an entertainment media industry, and got to know a lot of different creatives, exchanged their contact information. And this individual, I contacted them, sent my website and was like, hey, it was awesome meeting you. And they reciprocated that same, like, hey, it was awesome meeting you. And he like, can I get a contact photo so that I can put it on your contact card? Which I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Like, I should also do that whenever I'm meeting people so I can put a face to the name. So I sent, and I was like, well, since I act and this is within that industry, I was like, okay, I'll just send my headshot to you. So I sent one of my headshots, and keep in mind, this is like one of the newer headshots I had.
Also, I'm gonna interrupt real quick, but for everyone listening or watching, Kayak did send me these headshots to me personally like a few weeks ago, and they are amazing. Like they're they're like shot professionally. It's not like a iPhone picture, like it's high quality HD full res, and she looks awesome. Like she has so many of them. Like she has ones that are like very professional. She has ones that are like super badass. She has like comedic ones. Like they're so good. Okay, they are great headshots. Continue. I just want to say that.
Thank you. Thank you. I think so too. And I was very like happy about them. They're my newer headshots, and yeah. So, and then they responded back to my message with like, oh yes, I'll send my headshot. It was great meeting you. Sent the picture. And then they responded pretty shortly after saying, if you want a better headshot, I'm your guy. Ha ha ha. And then sent their website. And like, I immediately was like icked out. Like, oh,
like a better headshot? Are you saying my headshot is bad? Like, are you saying I'm ugly? Excuse me?
For real? I was like,
I mean,
wait, hold up.
I don't know. I don't want to assume, but like, I don't know if it's just like bad, like phrasing, but why would you tell anyone, like, do you want a better headshot? Like, what if they think their headshot's amazing? Why can't you just say, like, if you want another headshot, if you want more headshots, like, if you want headshots, like, I don't know, there's so many different ways to be like, hey, you want to get like a new headshot with me, You don't have to say, do you want a better headshot? There's just so many different ways he could have phrased it. Like, I don't know if he just like lacked social skills or he phrased it wrongly. Like, I don't want to assume, but there's so many better ways. Yeah, there's so many better ways you could have phrased that.
Oh yeah, and it could have just been like, because at the end of the day, I did not ask for his feedback. Yeah. It'd be one thing if I was like, hey, what do you think of these headshots? Then it'd be like, okay, like
to say
this
out
was
of
his feedback. Yeah. I don't know this person. I just met them. Like I said in the last message, hey, it was great meeting you. Yeah. We had a brief, maybe 10-minute conversation. Like that's just the amount of time that I've known this person in real life. And like, yeah, that's why I was like side-eyeing like better. Yeah. And then I think what follows next is what makes me like, oh, feels like a microaggression or just like something like, again, undermining my whole, I don't know. So the next thing he sent, which was like an hour later. Yeah. I like the acting reel though. I need to make one myself. And it's just the though part kind of makes me like, okay, so you are saying your headshot's whack, but you're real though. Nice. Yeah.
Like, he's like, I like but I like the acting reel. Like, your headshot's so ugly, but your acting reel's alright, I guess. That's why I was like, I know.
I don't know. I'm just that made me feel icky and like
when he said I like the acting reel though. Like he said though.
Word for word.
I feel like that like he could have just said I also like the acting reel. because also implies he liked the headshot too. But when he says, I like the acting reel though, it means that there's something he didn't like earlier, aka the headshot. I don't know, that just seems rude. Like,
yeah, like you're not casting me in anything, or I haven't openly auditioned for something. It was just like, hey, let's connect. You want a photo? Cool. Proceeds to judge the photo and then go into my website and judge it further, even though it's a positive comment, apparently. Like, I don't know. I just...
Yeah, it's very rude. It seems like very condescending. Like he's like looking down on you.
Yes.
I don't know. It just feels like
does sound like looking down on me.
It seems like a very, I don't to be stereotypical, a very man thing to do.
I feel like I have encountered this energy so much in my life.
Yeah.
Where it's
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, a person who is manipulative or like just looks down upon me, doesn't value what I provide for whatever we're doing, whatever, if it's job related or whatever.
He thinks he can do it better.
Yes, but I don't know. Part of me is like, oh, do I intimidate you that much? I was like, yes. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, it's not a compliment really, to you, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like so many men do this where they just assume that, you know, it's like the things that you produce are not as good as the things they could produce. And before you guys in the comments say not all men, like obviously not all men, not every single person who identifies as a male in the world is gonna act like this, you know. But when people say all men, blah blah blah, it's like honestly like a generalization, you know. So the fact that if you say, oh, but not me, you know, if you're even saying that in the first place, maybe like think about why you're saying that. I don't know. That's just a pet peeve I have, is when people are like, oh yeah, all men suck, but not me.
Yeah. And like, yeah, no, exactly. I'm gonna read a comment that we have live right now. Fefi said, not all men, but enough men has made this an issue. Basically.
Yeah. Like obviously not every single male person in the world, you know. Obviously not every single Caucasian person in the world is committing microaggressions against people of color. Like obviously not, you know. But when we say all, it just means enough. It's generalization. So.
Yes. I was gonna say this when you're explaining that. It's like mansplaining. Yes. They think you don't know when you have clearly made it known you do know, or that you are in a position in which you would know, but they still want to explain it to you just in case you don't understand.
Just in case.
So that's what that feels
just
like.
In case. Imagine if the roles were reversed and like a woman did that to a man. Like they would be called out. They would be
women in male fields.
Yeah, exactly. Have you watched the Barbie movie?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like they cover a lot of feminist topics in that and like gender roles, and I really like that. I really like that movie. I was not expecting to like the movie, but I was expecting the Barbie movie to be like a movie about Barbies. I was expecting it to be like really cheesy and like not like, I never grew up with Barbie, so I just watched it because it was really popular at the time. But then I was like, wow, I was not expecting the Barbie movie to be so deep and talk about feminism.
Deep and relatable.
I know.
No, for real.
I really like that movie. Yeah, a little off topic, but it just reminded me of a lot of the topics we're currently discussing.
Honestly, on brand. I feel like that movie is known for being such a like feminist icon.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Barbie spoiler for everyone that hasn't seen Barbie yet. But at the very end of the movie, when Ken like brought patriarchy into like Barbie land, and like all the Barbies were brainwashed into becoming like, you know, very stereotypically like servants for the Kens. But then the mom, like the human mom, gave that speech to all the brainwashed Barbies about how women, you know, can't do this but are expected to do that. Like, I just thought that was so relatable.
Is that America Ferrera or something like that? Was that her name?
I don't know. Oh, yes, you're right. Oh my gosh, how did you know that?
Okay, yes.
How did you know that?
I feel like I've seen her in other things before.
Wow.
Her face is so distinct.
Yes, you're right. I just looked it up. That is her. Oh my gosh. Well, you're so smart, Kayak.
Thanks.
Yeah. Can I just read a little bit of her speech? Because I really like it.
Yeah, go for it.
I just like looked it up because obviously I don't remember it from memory, but so the speech goes like this. It is literally impossible to be a woman. Like, we always have to be so extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. And you have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much, or that you threaten other women, because you're supposed to be a part of the sisterhood. But always stand out and always be grateful, but never forget that the system is rigged. So find a way to acknowledge that, but also always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard. It's too contradictory, and no one gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. So I just read the whole speech. I said I was gonna read a part of it, but I just read the whole thing.
No, I liked that you kept going because everything was like,
I know.
Yup.
Yeah. So what we were just talking about reminded me of that speech, because I'm like, that is so accurate.
Yeah, even you just repeating that, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this, and that hit so hard,
that was
especially the way that it started. I know, now I kind of want to watch it again.
I think I watched it like 3 times when it came out. I was not expecting the Barbie movie to be that good.
Yeah, it was really awesome. And, you know, I think that's why, like, even when I went to that networking event, this circles back, trust me. I really wanted to make it a point to get to know the women at that event.
Yes.
Because I really think that there's, like, a lack of representation, especially like directors that are women, writers that are women, and like I really believe that our voices need to be heard in the media too, because the media really does shape young people's minds,
for sure,
even currently the older minds of today. So like I was trying to talk to like the women that were there, and what was I going with this? Now I'm lost as to where I was going.
Oh, you're good.
I just believe that women require voices. Yeah. They need the voices to speak like that one, because that was a female director that created that.
Greta Gerwig. Yeah, Barbie was just such a feminist, like woman-led film, which is amazing. I just loved it so much. Also, can we talk about the gender wage gap?
Yes.
Like, can you believe that is still a thing? Like, it is 2025, and I don't know if that says much because 2025 sucks right now, but... Can you believe the gender wage gap is still a thing? Like, that is that is like even Stone Age stuff. Like, why does that still exist? Like, I'm honestly like, I don't understand.
I mean, so when I learned about the gender wage gap in college, which was years ago at this point, before COVID, that's when I was learning it. I was shocked.
Yeah.
And I had to have it broken down to me as to why that is the case.
I know. I don't understand why
I don't quite understand why this is allowed. It's funny you say, like, why do we still have it to this day? And, like, I feel like now it makes sense why we have it because, you know, our current administration, if you will.
Yeah.
And so
a lot of companies don't have salary transparency. And not speaking for any particular company, just in general, but they keep salaries hidden so people don't see, you know, these wage gaps between, you know, genders or different roles, essentially. I don't know. It just confuses me. My friend on International Women's Day, he's a guy, and he like femos like every female every female friend he has, I think it's like 75 cents or something. And he's like, Happy International Women's Day. Like, this is the difference in our, pay gap or something. Like our hourly pay gap. I think it's like 75 cents or something. Let me
the
fact
gender
check that.
wage tax.
Yeah, the gender
He's paying his
wage
gender
gap.
wage tax.
I know. So every like International Women's Day, he Femos all his female friends like 75 cents or whatever the gender wage gap is.
I feel like it's a lot more than that.
That's like hourly or something. Okay, in 2022, women ages 25 to 34 earned an average of 92 cents for every dollar earned by a man.
So 8 cents difference.
Yeah, 8 cents difference for every dollar earned by a man. But this is 8 cents for $1. But if you think about like a salary, if it's like $16,000, like that's a lot. I can't do the math right now on the spot, but if you add up the dollars, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I think also an added component is the reason why we also have the wage gap is because there's no such thing as like maternal leave for women, or paid maternal leave.
Yes.
It's generally speaking unpaid unless the company decides to do paid. It's up to the company, but the standard is unpaid.
So there's no federal law that women get paid maternal leave.
Yeah, I believe
interesting.
It's just unpaid, but let me fact check that so I'm not just talking out of my butt.
Jobs have had paid maternal leave, but I don't know if that's just my job.
Yeah, let me see. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, it's good to fact check the stuff.
Okay, so according to the Family and Medical Leave Act of 1993, it requires 12 weeks of unpaid leave annually for parents of newborn or newly adopted children if they work for a company with 50 or more employees.
Interesting.
So then what happens when it's lower?
Wait, also, I just looked up the gender pay gap in 2025. And then Google says that in the United States, it's estimated for 33% for full-time year-round workers and 75% for all workers, where women earn about 83 cents for every dollar earned by a man. So actually lower than what I read earlier in 2022.
83 cents?
Yes, women earn about 83 cents for every dollar earned by men. That's what Google says in 2025. So that's 17 cents lower.
Yeah.
That is wild.
That is wild. I'm going to bring up a comment that we're seeing live by Fefi. Remember that the wage gap also depends on race. White women make less than white men, but women of color make less than white women, etc. It's an intersectional issue, and that's why dismantling the patriarchy benefits everyone.
Yeah, because it's like, I think race, gender, like all of that, like they said, is very intersectional. Yeah, that sucks. And it's a very systematic issue that's very rooted within our society.
And I think maybe that's why there's a lot of discussion, and this goes to what we were going to talk about next, actually, regarding women choosing not to get married or have children or just engage in relationships and forming families, like what they say that that's like the American dream here, is to have a family, get married, have kids, and white picket fence and all that stuff. Like now, I think because of like the intersectionality issue with wage gap and way more things tied to patriarchy, many people and women specifically are choosing to not get married or to not have children. Very interesting. Kind of like the 4B movement. Have you heard of that?
I heard of it, but I don't remember what it is. If you want to remind me.
So it started in Korea.
Okay.
Where basically like the women there, and I might be just like roughly saying this from my memory.
If you want to look it up to fact check, you can.
Yeah. But essentially, like, the 4B movement is a growing movement of women where basically they do not engage with men, period. So they don't go on dates, they don't form like romantic relationship bonds, nor do they have sex with men, marry men, none of that. They basically are like, nope, I'm done. I'm going to live a life without engaging with men.
I do remember that.
Yeah. And that has like been a bigger discussion along the way. Even now in the United States, I have seen a lot of people like reference the movement and even decided that they may engage in that kind of life. But it has spurred up a lot of discussion on whether people want to, you know, be in a relationship with men in the first
Everyone's
place.
just going to be a lesbian.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, but going back to that, I think like it is so wild that a lot of people in society just view women as like baby making machines and housewives to men. Like, yeah, that's all we're good for, is to make babies and stay at home and make sandwiches for our husbands. Like, that seems like a very, you know, traditional, outdated idea, but it's wild how many people still kind of think that even today. Like, even if they don't admit it outright, like in the back of their minds, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like even like microaggressions, like, oh, when are you gonna have a kid? You know, if you go to like a family reunion and your family members ask you that, or, you know, when are you gonna get married? You know, like even like small comments that are, you know, not laced with, you know, any ill intent, kind of like rub you the wrong way, because you're like, what if I don't want to get married? What if I don't want to get kids? Like, I have more to life than just getting married to a man or having kids. Like, there's more to me than just that. But that's the question everyone asks you when you get older. So
I think a lot of people, and maybe this is more about like older generations, don't understand that people are more open to different choices of living their life. And if they choose a life where you don't want to have kids, you don't want to have a family unit, like the whole like nuclear family kind of became more of a thing as of recently. And it was more popularized and then became very normalized to have like man, woman, children in one house, versus like maybe in different cultures or different countries, it was more of like a village takes care of the children. You know, it was more of a community effort or a village effort. So I don't know. I just, given the circumstances and the financial reasons, personally for me, like taking that step feels very like it just wouldn't go well for the children that I would have unless I was in like a very good financial spot.
Yeah. So do you want kids, or do you?
I probably will be choosing, most likely, and I'm leaning towards this direction, but as you can see, there's still some conflicting feelings.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards never getting pregnant and never having kids. However, I can see myself changing my mind in my 40s, for instance, and adopting a kid versus like having children with as like a family. So I don't know, but that's later down the line, her decision. Yeah. As of right now though, like no, I don't want children.
Yeah.
How about you?
Me neither.
Yeah.
I'll take a dog, but you know, I just feel like I don't know, like it just scares me to have children because they're so like, what's the word, like imprintable. Like they're like a sponge. Impressionable. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Words. What is that?
That's okay.
They're so impressionable. I was thinking like imprint, like a duckling, you know, the imprint on their moms. But like raising a child, like they just like, they learn whatever, even if you're not teaching them, you know, how you act, how you handle things, how you deal with conflict, like everything they do, everything you do, and everything that how you interact with the world, like your kid is gonna pick up on that and learn from you. So like every action you do matters. So I feel like if I ever had children, I would be like overthinking and be like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I got into a fight with my partner one day. Like, what if that leaves a bad impression on the kid? Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many things, and I personally have so much like, you know, repressed like traumas and stuff. I feel like if I ever were to have a kid, I need to like get rid of that, because I don't want to like imprint that, you know, on my kid. Yeah. And I don't know, there's, and like money too, like this is so expensive to have a kid. Like it's like thousands, if not like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like I can barely afford myself. Like how do you think I'm supposed to afford another human being? I don't know. Maybe I'll make more money when I'm older, but that's just a lot of money, and then you have to like take care of them. And people are like, "Oh yeah, you take care of a kid for 18 years," but no, it's like not 18 years. It's the rest of your freaking life. You're not just gonna abandon them when they're 18. You know, like you have to take care of your kid for at least 18 years, and then more. That's like your entire life gone. Like, what if I want to travel? What if I want to pursue my own hobbies? And especially like a newborn, like you have to wake up every 2 hours to take care of it. Like you're just gonna get no sleep, you know, like the early stage, like and kids are mean. Like toddlers, like they will smash plates, like they will throw food around, like they'll ruin stuff, throw up on places, like I don't know, and kids are just mean. Like I was mean as a kid. Like I wouldn't want me as a kid, honestly. Like I was mean. I would throw temper tantrums. I would stomp. I would like punch things. Like I would throw my food. I don't know. Like I was so spoiled growing up. I would not want me as a kid even. Like I don't know. It's just a lot. I know a lot of people like one of my friends has like really bad baby fever. And, like, I get it. Like, babies are cute. But personally, I've never even gotten baby fever before in my life. Like, I look at a kid, I'm like, cool. Like, even, like, a newborn. I'm like, cute. But, I don't know. I've never gotten baby fever. I've never gotten the feeling like, wow, I really want a mini me. Or, like, wow, I really want kids. You know?
Yeah.
I've never gotten that feeling before.
When it comes to newborns, though, they look like aliens. Like, to me, like, straight up, they're just, like, alien blobs. Like, funny looking, eyes look weird, gooey, gross, noisy.
Like, sometimes I wonder, like, when do you first have consciousness? I don't know. What was your first... Okay, this is kind of going off topic, but...
I know what question you're going to ask.
What is the first memory you've ever had? Can you remember? Or do you know your first memory? Ever?
There's one that comes to mind right now, but it's very like random. There was a hiding spot I really liked, and I may have been like 2 or 3 years old, and I was like crawling around, and it's like this like I feel like this was really bigger in like the 90s and early 2000s where people had entertainment centers. So it was like a bunch of shelving and like a TV in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
So in the shelving, there was one on the bottom that was like a square that was big enough for my, little self to go in there. So I would like take out the stuff and go in there and hide from my parents. Aww. But then like when they would find me, I'd be like, ha, like, being like, ha, you found me. That's like the earliest memory I can think of.
I just imagine baby Kayak in like little toddler pajamas crawling into her little safe space.
No, yeah, I just it was like a cat.
I know. That's so cute.
What about you?
So I have a very distinct memory. It's my first memory ever. So it's actually when I was in the crib, and I can remember this so vividly.
Whoa.
It's wild. Yeah, so I remember laying on my back in the crib. Like I couldn't move, couldn't walk, couldn't anything. Like all I could do was lay there. I remember looking up and I see the ceiling and the wall, and I vividly remember the wallpaper. It was baby blue, and there was a line of little like bears on the wallpaper. And I don't know how I knew they were bears, because obviously, I've never seen a bear in my life before, but I knew they were bears, and they were just, one after the other on the wallpaper. And it was baby blue. I just remember staring at that wallpaper for like hours and hours and hours, because there was nothing else for me to do, because I was just laying on my back and staring at the wallpaper. And it was very, very vivid. I remember exactly what that wallpaper looked like. And I remember when I got older, I asked my mom, I was like, in my nursery room, did I have was I in a room with like a baby blue wall? And there was like a line of like cute little bears on the wall. And my mom was like, yeah, how did you know? And I was like, I don't know, but I distinctly remember that. And then my next memory wasn't until I was like a toddler or whatever, but I distinctly remember. So you were probably
a baby.
Yeah, it was like a
less
newborn.
Than one.
I don't know how old I was, but I just remember
certified big brain.
I don't know how old I was, but I just remember like I couldn't move or anything, couldn't roll over. So all I could do was lay on my back and stare at that wallpaper. Like I remember that wallpaper so vividly. And I don't know how I knew it was a bear.
Yeah, that's wild.
But I knew it was a bear.
So cool.
Yeah. Like personally, okay, this is getting pretty off topic. We can discuss this in maybe like a religion or spirituality episode. But personally, like I believe in reincarnation. So I'm like maybe like my like a semblance of like my past life was still in there.
I was literally gonna say that.
Maybe that's why I like knew they were bears and like I don't know. I was just bored staring at the wallpaper. I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say. Is you were channeling your past life or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But we can have a whole religion and spirituality episode as well. I can talk a lot about that.
I can't wait.
Okay, going back to women.
Women, yeah. Yes. Okay. Going back to your conversation about, you know, choosing not to want kids and your reasons. Like for me personally, I love kids. It brings me back to my silliness, and it reminds me of like an innocence that I don't know, I hold close to my heart. That's like so sweet. But I have never truly experienced baby fever. Like I've always kind of felt I don't really see myself as a mother, but I can see how I could be good as a mother. And I think, generally I've always been like, I don't know if I'm going to have kids, and then kind of just like reiterated what other people told me, like, I'll worry about that when I'm like 30 or something. And so now that I'm like literally approaching 30 in a few years, I'm just kind of like, the answer is still no. I'm still not really open to having kids. I think at the end of the day, you know, me going back to like, I love kids and like their innocence and they're so silly, and I know they have big emotions. But I also think like maybe I would just be a good aunt. Maybe I'm just an aunt or, you know, a godmother more than I am going to be a mom. And so I think I've been slowly coming to grips with that, because I think the thing that scares me about having children in this economy, but also just in our society in general, in the United States of America, is that women, the expectation that's held as a mother, and you lose yourself for years. You lose who you are because you have to dedicate your whole life for this little person who they can't do anything else other than just, like you said, stare at a wall and just lay there. Like you have no choice but to be there for that little person. And like, I don't know, the idea of losing myself and then like not having a village or community of people who are helping also, like I feel like I would go insane. I feel like I would get in like a depression. I feel like, I don't know. I think that part is where I'm kind of like, no, I don't think I want to go down that road. I think I also want to like travel. I want to explore the world, get to know people, connect with people, and form my own like family, like what's the word? There's a word for it, like a created family too. I want to have my own created family. So it's like, I don't know. That's kind of where my feelings are at. That's
a reason why a lot of people have postpartum depression as well, right? And that's just so scary too, to think about, oh, I just gave birth and I have this thing now that I have to take care of for the rest of my life. And what if like it doesn't like me? What if I don't like it? You know, but you're stuck in it forever, you know? I don't know. That's just very hard. And also, I want to talk about like, why is it expected that mothers have to take care of the kid? They're all like, why can't dads also do it, or like the mom's partner, whatever gender they are. Why can't they do it? You know, why does the child bearer have to do it? Why is that societal expectation? Like, I think dads should get paternal leave as well. Why isn't that a thing?
Same.
That's not like, why is it only maternal leave? You know?
Yep. I think just recently they changed it to paternal, but I think originally it had to do more about moms. I mean, it wasn't illegal to fire pregnant women until the 70s.
Yeah.
So before the 70s, they would just flat out, you know, if you get pregnant, okay, bye.
Oh my gosh.
Because you're not going to be able to make us money, kind of.
That is insane. That is so...
I know.
I don't even know.
And that was 50 years ago. So that's why it's like, it makes sense, like, to this day, we still struggle.
It wasn't that long ago. Like, people were always like, oh, these, like, super sexist, racist, discriminatory things happened so long ago. And I'm like, no, you know, segregation was literally, like, 60 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Where colored people had to use different toilets. It was less than 100 years ago. You know that, right? It wasn't that long ago.
No, yeah, like, and I think that used to be a really common excuse, and I would hear it amongst people in my family, primarily on my white side. I would just flat out be like, it was so long ago, it's not an issue today. And it was like, well, of course you don't see it because you're not experiencing it, given that you're white. But like, it still happens to this day, even for me personally, like in my family, and we'll get into this in our Asian American episode, but like being mixed race, I feel like my mom, who is Filipino, she sees me as a person of color. I can definitely tell she sees me as that because she is one too. My dad, however, not so much. I feel like he viewed me as like a white person. Interestingly enough, maybe because, you know, he identifies himself with me, and like I had to kind of blatantly tell him, like, I walk on this earth as a woman of color. Like, when people see me, they're not saying, oh, white person. Like, that's not I'm not white passing like that. And so I think that's kind of like an interesting experience. I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, that's just like something I've experienced with my family, the difference.
So women gained the right to open a bank account in the 1960s, but they had to have their husband's permission to open the bank account. When they couldn't open a bank account without the husband's permission until 1974. After the Equal Credit Opportunity Act was passed. That is crazy. That is what, 1974. That just seems so recent to me.
Even with my friendships, actually, even in friendships, I have encountered misogyny towards me or just towards others or themselves.
Do you know like a specific example?
I remember one time. This was more of like this is like when I first started college a long time ago, and I was like trying to date this guy. We were kind of dating. I don't know. I was just kind of like, and him and I were unsure whether or not we wanted to like become a thing, like an actual thing. And when he was discussing this openly with his friends, one of the guys was like, who gives a shit? She's just a girl. And like, I don't know, like that rubbed me the wrong way because I just was like, okay. Like, I don't know, something about that felt like there were layers to that I didn't understand at the time. I just remember feeling uncomfortable knowing that information. So like stuff like that where like I'm viewed as like, well, she's just a girl, like she's just a girlfriend, like that was how they like viewed me. She's just like a girlfriend, just break up with her, like fuck it, move on. And I was like, oh, I thought I was friends with you, dude.
I know, it feels so demeaning. Friend. Like,
yeah,
condescending. Once again, condescending.
Yes.
said this in the last episode, but I'm going on a trip to Korea and Japan soon.
Yes.
So it's gonna be me, Popcorn, her sister, and her brother. And then I'm gonna call my mom out. But when I told my mom that my Popcorn's brother was coming, she was like, because at first it was just me, her, and her sister that was going, and then her brother kind of like last minute was like, oh, we're gonna join you guys. I'm gonna join you guys.
Yeah.
And I told my mom that, oh yeah, her brother's actually gonna come with us. And my mom was like, oh, that's good. I'm so relieved to hear that you're gonna have a man on the trip. So it's not just like 3 girls walking around the city. So I'm so glad, you have a man with you to protect you guys. And I'm like,
yeah.
Yup. Yeah. And I know my mom means no like ill will or malice with that, but I guess it also kind of is what we talked about. It's what we talked about earlier of like the older generation being more kind of like a traditional mindset where the man is supposed to be the most, dominating, the most powerful, the one who can protect the woman, So I feel like my mom definitely has that more traditional mindset. Again, she doesn't mean it with any harm, but I'm just like, okay, mom.
I think it's also like telling of like the view of traveling, because even just like being like just as women traveling without a man, like I have also heard the same thing. Or just even like what it means to be a female solo traveler, and you probably have to be a bit more on guard with things. So I understand that part, but adding the layer of like a strong man with us, yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
he'll protect
all
you
right.
guys.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. No, I also encountered the same. But
Mhm.
while like the Philippines, like when you appear like I'm an American, you have more eyes on you.
Yeah.
So that kind of part made sense. But still, it was kind of like
it's definitely good to be cautious as a woman or female traveling. Like you should obviously be cautious because as a woman, it's way more dangerous to travel by yourself. But you also like don't need a man to protect you. You just protect yourself. You take, all the precautions. Don't walk around at night. Even walk around with a friend who could be a female, like
yeah, exactly.
bring pepper spray. Like you can be cautious and take, be safe yourself. You don't need a man to protect you everywhere you go.
And also, this is why we need men to take other men accountable for their actions, because
it's also like how women are always expected, they have to protect themselves from dangerous men wandering the streets, because they might draw the attention of those dangerous guys. But why are we teaching women to be careful when we could be teaching the men to not do illegal violent behaviors, not be discriminatory towards women, don't catcall women, don't be misogynistic. Why aren't we teaching men to not do those things when we're only teaching women to protect ourselves? Don't be too revealing, so that men will, come at you. Don't wear revealing things. Don't, it's like a dress code all over again.
Yep.
Like the dress code, like don't wear shorts. Don't wear anything too revealing, because men can't control themselves. It's just their natural human animal instinct. They can't control themselves if they see you wear a tank top. So it's your fault if you get attacked by a man for wearing a tank top. Like
that, and just having your bra strap show, like that was like a dress code issue, because
men can't
boys
control
will be
themselves.
too distracted.
So it's your fault for wearing something so revealing, not the guy's fault for attacking you. Nope, your fault for wearing that.
Good God.
Yeah.
We have talked a lot of like the real, but more on like the kind of unfortunate side of things. What about being a woman is awesome? I want to know
Oh,
about that.
that's a great question. I like that we're diving into the more positive side of it. Everything. I love being a woman. Like
Yes.
if I were granted a second life and I could choose like character creation, if I could choose like who I wanted to be, I would choose to be an Asian American woman. Again, every time I would choose to be Asian American woman. I love being Asian American. I love being a woman. I love being queer. I love who I am. And honestly, it's taking me a while to reach this point, because there have been times in my life before where I did not love who I am, especially like growing up in a very white Caucasian place. But I love who I am now, and I would choose to be who I am every single time if I was ever reborn. But I think being a woman is great. Like I love the I can't say the word, the camaraderie of
Yes.
of women. Yes, I love like girl code. Like when girls support other girls, like that is the best thing ever. Like obviously there are some girls that like don't support girls, but girls who support girls, like yes, we love that.
No, for real.
I also love girls too, so why wouldn't I love being a girl?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, the one thing I don't like being a girl is the one thing I don't like about being a girl is having periods, because that sucks for sure. I would not want that.
Yeah, same.
That's the one thing I don't like. And hormones, not fun. But I like being a woman. Other than those parts. Yeah. What about you? I'll try to think of more.
I wrote some down.
Okay. I should have written some down.
Girlhood.
Yes.
That part is like so unlike any other relationship I've ever had with anyone else other than girls. Is the girlhood, the camaraderie, like you said.
Yes.
The love and care and openness that are involved in my relationships with women are unlike any relationship I've ever had with men. And I haven't had too many relationships with people from other genders. So I am just kind of splitting this with men and women right now. But that and like women are just so beautiful.
Yes.
And being in the presence of just beautiful women is just already making my day.
Like me right now.
Yeah, no, exactly. Sitting here with blindfold. Exactly. And I just feel like women are so strong and motivate me in different ways, because, I get so inspired by the things that women do and persevere through too. And like, one thing I do want to mention, this is actually something that happened to me literally a few weeks ago. And this has to do with women.
Yes.
So I had decided to go to this hiking place. It was my grandfather's birthday, and this is the same place I grieved his death. So I decided to go again to celebrate his birthday and just to think of him and have, my one-on-one time, spiritually, so to speak. And like, literally in that moment, I was like, I really believe he is like a guardian angel of mine, or he is just like, there with me in spirit. And right after that, this very strange interaction came up where this woman, like, I was sitting on this like rock kind of thing, and she like stands on the rock hovering over me and says like, I'm writing in my journal, and she's like, you're writing a love letter? And I was like, no. And she's like, okay, hateful letter. And I was like, no. And like, mind you, the vibes were off. So I felt a very like, okay, I'm on edge right now, because I don't know what game she's playing. But I saw these two women who noticed what was happening and like the off vibes. And I saw like the body language that I saw was like, she was like, hey, points at me. And then they decided to stay and watch. Kind of just like to, like, my guardian angel. They watched to make sure I was safe.
Oh, I love that.
And then once that lady left, they also left. And like I couldn't catch up to them to say thank you because I was literally gonna be like, thank you guys so much, but they got really far throughout the hike.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go the very opposite direction of where that other off interacting woman was going. But like stuff like that, where like women know, you know, where they can sense something's wrong or you're unsafe and will try to be there for you. And I've seen it in different circumstances, but that one I really was like, wow, that was awesome to see like those two women decide to stay and make sure like, okay,
wow,
she's good.
I love that.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Beautiful.
Honestly, I think women probably have a sixth sense. Like we just know. Like we have really good intuition. We can sense when something's off. More so than men. In most cases.
In most cases, yeah. Yeah. I think that's like the basis of what I've written down about I love being a woman. I mean, I don't like my periods.
Yeah.
I will say the positive thing about having hormones though is that it gets me more in touch with my sixth sense or my intuition when something doesn't feel right. I feel like during times of being hormonal, like I feel it more intensely, yes, and that part sucks. But at the same time, I feel it intensely for a reason. And I think maybe it is my body trying to tell me something too.
Yeah.
So that's also kind of like another perspective I've had with dealing with PMS and, you know, stuff like that. Like sometimes it's framed in a way where, oh, you're just having emotions out of nowhere. But maybe our emotions are telling us something. That's kind of the thoughts I'm having. Like, I feel like we just know more emotionally.
I like that perspective. I really like that. I mean, feeling feelings can be a con, but it can also be a blessing in disguise to be able to feel so much all at once. Like, that can be a hidden blessing for sure.
Yeah. So, I think that's like a blessing, even though it's not like the most best thing to encounter in your life. Like I think it's a something that makes us strong and
yes, exactly.
smart.
And I feel like all women just go through so much in general, like in the society that we've been raised in, and that really just boosters that sense of camaraderie. Did I say that right? Camaraderie. You
say camaraderie. Camaraderie. You have to say the raw part. Camaraderie. Yes.
Now I feel like I'm saying a bad word. Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. Right? Am I saying that? Well, when you emphasize that first part of the word, it sounds like that.
Camaraderie?
I think I want to leave it positive, personally. We talked a lot about, you know, the discrimination women go through and just even myself in general, the discrimination I've been through. But like, I wouldn't want to change it for the world. Who I am, being a woman, and the women around me, I look up to them. I think they're amazing. They teach me so much. They open my mind in different ways. The relationships that I have formed with women are unlike any other relationships I've had. So I think I just really value, I love women. That's it.
I totally agree. Have you seen those movies where it's like a society that is just women and like men like went extinct or something? I'm like, and then like get babies from like I don't know where, but
wait, what movie is this? I want to watch it now.
Well, I didn't watch it, but I watched like half of it on TikTok. You know, sometimes my TikTok feed I get like movie another word I can't say. Movie shorts, movie clips.
Yes.
I get clips of random movies when I scroll through my TikTok feed, and sometimes I just watch them. And then there's this one movie where it's like about this world where men are just like extinct, and it's just all women, and they live in like such peace and prosperity, and everything is green, and technology is so advanced and civilized, and I'm like, wow. Have you seen that meme where it's like this picture of this green, like super advanced technology, and like all these like skyscrapers and advanced buildings and futuristic, you know, designs, and they're like, this is what we could be at if blah blah blah. Have you seen that meme? Oh, but
I don't think so.
That's the meme I think about when I think about like, what if women ran the world? Then this is what the world would look like.
It brings me back to when I learned about how in the Philippines we were originally a matriarch. From what I was learning, we were originally a matriarch, and yeah, I find that to be so iconic. And I'm sure that changed once like there was a lot of colonization.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
I know the Philippines
got
was super heavily colonized by, I think, the Spanish, something like that.
Yeah, the Spanish, but I think there was more than just the Spanish, or Americans too. But even before the Spanish, I think there was like more colonization. And
isn't it wild that we've never had a female president?
Yeah.
I know we could have had one.
Very telling.
But
we had 2 instances where we could have had one, but
you know, Taiwan has a female president. Like, wow.
So did Germany. Germany had and you know, there's a lot of history with Germany, but you know, they've come a long way.
Yeah.
Since.
Like so many other countries have women presidents, but the United States, a global superpower. Yeah, and like not even to mention like historically, like back in the day, a lot of women were leaders. Like it was very common, like Cleopatra, you know. But what happened?
My theory is maybe men got jealous.
I mean, they get jealous often, so maybe.
My theory, for every condescending comment I get from a man, it comes from jealousy.
And you know, in the animal kingdom, women, like the female animals, are always the dominant ones.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Black Widow.
The tarantula, female literally mates with the male and then eats the male after they mate. So
yep, same with the Black Widow.
Yeah, they just use the male as like a mating, you know, object, and then they eat it for they kill it and eat it for protein afterwards. All the males are like prettier because they need to impress the females for the females to pick them. Yeah, like peacocks or like lions.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know why that was the case where like there were women in power, or there was a matriarchy, and then something switched.
Like even seahorses, the male ones are the ones that are pregnant. Like the female seahorses put their eggs in the male ones, and the male ones are pregnant and carry the baby.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I think there are a lot of things that tie into this, and maybe it has to do with our human history, and even like religion. Honestly, I think religion plays a part in you know, even how we address God as he. I don't know, like stuff like that. I don't know. I wonder if that, like the way we speak about power, starts with the pronoun
and so
him.
When people got mad when Ariana Grande released "God Is a Woman," that song, and everyone got mad. They're like, "No."
Yeah.
So I'm like,
yeah.
I'll talk about it more in the spirituality episode.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, I'm gonna hold off.
But yeah, I think this was a great episode. I love women. Women are amazing, resilient, strong, incredible. Sometimes it feels like the world is against us, you know, and everything that we do, all the laws that have been set up against us, history, but we still step up. We're still strong. We still live every day and fight back against oppression and do it all with like the bond, the camaraderie of sisterhood.
Like, still not right.
I don't know, but TLDR, women are amazing. I love women. The end.
No, exactly. I couldn't have said it better. Exactly what Blindfold said. We love women, and we advocate for women. Girls unite.
And we hope to show more of the woman perspective through this podcast as well, because even podcasts, I feel, is like a pretty male dominant platform, like male run podcasts where I just talk about like bro stuff, tech, finance. I don't know, like there's so many bro podcasts, which is fine, but nothing against that, but we just need more women voices, even in podcasts.
I totally agree, and that's the reason I also wanted to be doing GirlyPop TV podcast with Blindfold. Is like I said in our episode 0, I feel like our voices deserve to be heard on this platform too, and especially women of color, Asian American, female streamers. We deserve to have our voice out there, and I think it will be meaningful regardless if it's only one person that listens or multiple people.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, cuties, for watching episode 2 of the GirlyPop TV podcast. So make sure you stay tuned on YouTube, Spotify, and Twitch, and follow our socials in the description below.
Subscribe, follow, rate us on Spotify.
Yes,
please.
5 stars. It's crazy that we even have Spotify listeners. I looked at the analytics the other day, and there's like 14 listeners. I was like, wow, that's wild.
Wow. That is
We're
wild.
podcasters. Thanks for watching. This has been your co-host, Blindfoldhero
and Koolkayak.
All right, bye, cutie.
Bye.